Hello, welcome to your VM TSP training. My name is Brandon McCoy, and today's video is all about what's new in version 9 of the Veeam Service Provider console. Now, this video does assume that you already have a good understanding of what Service Provider console is, what Cloud Connect is. There are plenty of videos that'll really dive deep into those components if you're new to the Service Provider program or new to the console and you're looking to install. This video is all about just new features. However, I will take just a moment to do a quick refresher on what console is and some of the main components. But again, this video is really just going to focus on what's new. So let's take a look at a refresher slide. Then we're going to jump into the lab. I'll show you around as I talk about the new features. I'll show you a slide that lists all the features out at the end, just kind of as a recap, and we'll wrap this thing up. So Service Provider Console has been around for a while now. It's a free product that we give to our service providers. It's a single pane of glass, something that gets installed on a Windows machine on the service provider side, connects to your customers without any kind of VPNs. It does this with the help of Cloud Connect, which is just backup and replication, but with a special MSP license. Cloud Connect also gives service providers the ability to offer backup and disaster recovery as a service. There's an SSL certificate from a security perspective. Port 6180 is opened on one or multiple Cloud Connect gateways, and this eliminates the need for a VPN and connects the console to the customer. So let's jump into the lab and talk about what's new in console version 9. So for the first feature, I guess we should talk about what's the most obvious change, and that's the new UI. So we've got a refresh of the console itself. I think it looks great. What I've noticed about Veeam is we're starting to have a more unified experience with products. So things like the data protection score, that's on your Veeam 1. It's going to be on backup and replication version 13. So a lot of these dashboards and these like nice, just eye-catching reports so that you can quickly log on and see what's going on in your environment. Also kind of like how you drive, right? The configuration on the top right and the settings on the left. All of our products are starting to have a similar look and feel, and so I really like that. If you are familiar with console already, don't worry. We didn't reinvent the wheel. You're not going to have to relearn everything. We've just kind of consolidated some things. We did move a few things into other spots, but I think it all makes a lot more sense. It's comprehensive. It's very powerful. So that is the new number one feature is the new console itself. The second thing I want to talk about is no Cloud Connect needed for hosted infrastructure as a service. Now, originally, this was like the third or fourth feature I was going to talk about, but I realized that some of the other features don't make sense unless you understand this feature first. So this is a major architectural change that we've done. Forever, you've had to have a Cloud Connect server to connect to your customers, whether they were remote or not. Now, for remote instances of backup and replication, and for agents 365, you still need Cloud Connect, but for hosted environments where your backup and replication instance is already in the same environment as your console, you no longer need a Cloud Connect. And it makes sense, right? Because the Cloud Connect is there for the gateway, for the tunnel, but you don't need a tunnel. You're already in that environment, so we removed that. Another feature that kind of comes right after that is we have separated Cloud Connect tenants from companies. You can actually now take multiple Cloud Connect tenants and put them into the same company. You can split them up in different kinds of ways. And this makes sense because a Cloud Connect isn't needed for hosted, but also Cloud Connect tenants and Cloud Connect resources are completely split up. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. If I go into companies, and let's just edit this existing company. So just like before, you'd put in the company name, some additional details if you want, username and password. Now in version 8 and before, right after this, it would say site, and there'd be a drop down that would ask you to select the Cloud Connect server you would like this tenant to be associated with. For remote, hosted, it didn't matter. You had to have a Cloud Connect server before you could create a tenant. Well, now it's not even asking for that because we've split all of that up. Cloud Connect tenant and their resources are completely separate from a company. So it says right here, the specified credentials apply to the company. The Cloud Connect tenant are linked in a separate area, and there's a link to the Cloud Connect plugin. I'll go there in just a moment, but let's kind of keep going. So I've got this company. All I have is a username and password so far. Your services are now split up. So this is a big UI change, right? We used to put in the services. You would just check agents, VBR, 365, Cloud Connect. Now we've got them split up into 3 categories. You've got your remote services, you've got hosted for the IaaS, and you've got your Cloud Connect services. So remote services, I've got my agents, and if I want to set any limits on how many I can manage, the remote repositories at the customer site, backup and replication, public cloud. For hosted services, I've got these same things. And what's really nice is you can control, and this has been true since version 8, you can control backup jobs for hosted infrastructure as a service. Remote backup and replication, there are some enhancements coming in Service Provider Console 9.1 with the new Veeam software appliance. I'll talk about that a little more in a moment. But in this version and the previous version, for hosted environments, you can, create backup jobs, edit backup jobs. Well, a big change that we've made in version 9 is not only can you do that, but let's go through this. So I'm going to pick a hosted VBR server in my environment, and we'll pick a hosted repository. So backup job permissions, Granular. So now not only can you control, create, edit backup jobs for hosted backup and replication, you can also set granular permissions for what you're allowed to do. And you got to think about this from a customer perspective. If they were to log in, maybe you want a customer or a user to be able to create and edit jobs but not disable them, or only have a specific scope of jobs and things that they can do. So these granular permissions, and those are available for backup and replication, for 365, and for public cloud workloads. So setting those granular permissions on all of those. Then you've got your Cloud Connect services, again, completely separate tab now. And let's go ahead and go to that plugin library that I mentioned a moment ago. All right, so here I've got my tenants, and you'll notice right away that I could select multiple tenants and I could map those to a specific company, right? So again, companies, tenants, those are separate things. They could be one-to-one. You control that now. You can also have multiple tenants assigned to one company. You can even have companies with no tenants because they don't have any Cloud Connect. Also, for the Cloud Connect resources themselves, you've got your username and password for the tenant. You've got, do they have backup repository? Do they have replication resources? We've also enhanced the replication failover with the network extension appliance. So I remember this is a big feature that we were asking about in our solution architect chats with the PMs of having more control over the NEA in the service provider console. A lot of this had to be done from your Cloud Connect server. So we've added the ability to use or not use, and even put in some of the IPs. So some of this was available in version 8, but not as much detail. So we've added some additional things to be able to do there. All right. So that's the big features around the hosted environments and Cloud Connect, the tenants and companies with Cloud Connect, the granular permissions for hosted resources. One other thing that I want to mention is that Service Provider Console's #1 job has always been to support the new releases of products. This one is no different. However, there are some slight caveats. Version 13 of backup and replication introduces the VSA, or the Veeam software appliance. This is Linux-based with the just enough OS, meaning that Veeam controls the OS layer as well for patching and all this. In version 13.0, Cloud Connect would not be supported. So you will not be able to install Cloud Connect on version 13 of the Linux flavor. Therefore, Service Provider Console cannot connect to or manage those VSAs. However, in version 13.01 of backup and replication and version 9.1 of Service Provider Console, you will. But in version 9, because remember, we removed the need for Cloud Connect for hosted. So for a hosted VSA, a hosted version 13 of backup and replication, that does support Service Provider Console. Or I guess I should say Service Provider Console version 9 will support backup and replication version 13 for hosted. And then in 9.1, 13.1, we will see the Cloud Connect support and the remote support. We will also hopefully see remote web UI. So this will mean that you can control backup jobs for remote backup and replications on version 13 like you can do on the hosted today. Okay, so I know that was a lot, but let's keep moving because we still got some more things to discuss. And let's go to the Discovery tab and Discovered Computers. Now, I believe it was 1 or 2 versions ago, I can't keep up anymore, we added the ability to install and upgrade backup and replication, right? It started with being able to patch some small hot fixes. Then we were able to push the whole backup and replication product out to a machine and even do upgrades from 11 to 12. Well, now we're adding that capability to Veeam 1. So you'll be able to install Veeam 1, push the remote download out as long as there's a management agent, and upgrade Veeam 1 instances as well. So that's a nice new feature that we've added there. Guess there's not a lot else to say on that, just we've added that. In version 8, we did see some Veeam 1 enhancements around seeing all of your alarms from Veeam 1 servers in this single pane of glass in console. Now in version 9, we add the ability to install and upgrade Veeam 1 as well. The next feature I want to talk about is the API proxy. So what this allows is you can now have a single pane of glass for your API management across all the Veeam products that are supported with API through the console. So for environments where you can't jump onto those servers directly, we can now just log in to this PowerShell, select the customer's Veeam server that we want to send those commands out to, and we have a single pane of glass for API. We will again continue to expand that single pane of glass to GUI workloads as well in backup and replication, but the API single pane of glass, as I'll call it, in version 9 is a nice new feature. All right, let's keep going. Next up on the list is some changes to the plugin library. So let's take a look at that. Configuration, plugin library. Got this catalog here. And the big feature is this custom plugin. So you can now bring your own custom or third-party plugins and add those into the console thanks to our open API framework. So I thought that was a really cool new feature, allowing service providers to kind of bring their own. Speaking of plugins, so ConnectWise, we've actually removed ConnectWise Automate. So not a new feature, kind of removing a feature. ConnectWise Manage is still there, but ConnectWise Automate has been removed from the platform. And everything else is kind of the same. except this new one right here. So this is a new feature as well, and that is Veeam AI is come to service provider land. So the Veeam AI was added into backup and replication sometime in 12.3, maybe 12.1. Now we've got this AI right here. So I just click. And this is all based on the Veeam KBs, help centers. We got lots of different databases and LLMs that we use. So now you can use this to ask questions. And let's see how good it is. So just asking, what is Cloud Connect? Gonna keep it with an easy one for the video. And you can see that it's thinking through, it's looking at articles, and it kind of breaks this down, gives you some links. So that's the Veeam AI. This can be turned off for you as a service provider, a reseller, as well as at a company level. So don't worry, for those security-minded folks, this isn't something that has to be on. Now, I will say that, again, the UI has changed. Some of the buttons have changed. I honestly can't tell you like every single little tab that moved, but I think I've done a pretty good job of covering the big ones. I did want to save the best for last, one of my favorite features on all the Veeam products in version 13, as well as Service Provider Console V9, and that is, if I go up to this Administrator tab here and edit my profile, and I go to Portal Branding, dark mode, baby. So for those who like dark mode, we've added that. And this is really cool to do to backup and replication as well as console, because all the widgets had to be changed for them to do this. So a simple feature like this takes a lot of changes to code to do. So big shout out to the PM team, but I love dark mode. As you saw, you can also do a collapsed or expanded view. So kind of like what kind of information you want to see. You can kind of make some changes there as well. So I would say those are the big features in Service Provider Console version 9, right around the corner, probably already going to be out by the time you see this video. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it beneficial. And until next time, we'll see you later.